Welcome everybody back to the 90 Plus podcast where stoppage time never runs out and the hot takes keep on coming. We're your hosts.
Bobby over here.
I'm Victor.
And I'm David.
All right, let's get going right into it. First of all, USA fans are going to want to turn away because Mexico won the Gold Cup yesterday, defeating the US 2-1. So let's start with that, fresh off the box. What do we think?
Yeah, lots of points to talk about there, but I'm glad we won for sure. But I mean, to say the least, I feel like Mexico should have definitely won more comfortably, not 2-1.
Yeah.
It was an okay game since I don't support either.
Well, where was Panama?
Low key, something that was interesting is that both teams came to this Gold Cup not with their strongest squad. The USA were missing a lot of key players. Mexico were trying a lot of new players, but also a lot of players were coming from injury. So it was like the first time playing again all together. Overall, the game was pretty good. 2-1 scoreline is the game was pretty exciting. It wasn't like dull at any time. Obviously, US started strong with a goal in minute 4. And I think it was the same thing as Guatemala, right? Where they score in the first 4 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah, so and then after that, I think Mexico just picked up the tempo. They essentially got a fire lit to them that they needed to like start playing better. They couldn't be giving those free chances of free goals away, so then they started playing a lot better. They did a great job of controlling that midfield. USA struggled to keep possession of the ball. Every time they were pushing up, the midfield was able to take possession of the ball. And yeah, I just think that it was a good game. Mexico obviously was the better team in this game. And yeah, I do think they deserved to win it, and they did win it comfortably at the end. There were a little bit iffy at the beginning, but like towards the end, they did play a lot better.
I had a little bit of a different take. I think it was dominance. I think Mexico dominated, not from the get go. I think they started. They started a little sleepy, right? Like that free kick that ends up going in. Which, by the way, no goal line technology in the Gold Cup. I think that's a little embarrassing. So it looks like it went in. We will never be 100% sure, but that's beyond the point. I think aside from that slip up, it was all Mexico. I could count like maybe one or two other times that I felt real danger by the USA, but aside from that. It was just dominance from the midfield. I think like 70 to 80% of the game was played in the USA's half. We had a lot of shots. I want to highlight Gilberto Mora, who David talked about last time. What a baller. He had a wonderful shot on goal. I don't know if you remember it. And
Yeah.
their keeper ends up like getting a last minute touch on it, and then we get a corner kick from that. But I mean, I am definitely biased, but I called it last time. I wasn't scared of the U.S. I wasn't scared of Saudi Arabia. I wasn't scared of whoever came. They came, and it doesn't matter. But I think what's really special is on 4th of July weekend in U.S. soil, Mexico wins the Gold Cup. That's my takeaway from this.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. They definitely dominated the game, but I think for me personally, I just wish we could have seen more from Mexico, like more chances finished. Because sure, we could talk about how much they dominated, but they barely won the game 2-1.
Yeah.
I would have against, in USA, all US fans are saying how it's their B squad, which we'll get to that topic. But again, I feel like they're right. They were missing a lot of big players there, like Pulisic, Wea, McKennie, like so many players under the starting 11 that Mexico should not even one have gone to such a scoreline of just one goal. I think they should have easily won 2-3-0 maybe. But yeah, I think they dominated for sure, but I expected a lot more.
So why don't we get a little bit into that? Obviously, the big elephant in the room of Team USA not bringing their full lineup. Off the get go, do you think that's a fair comparison between Mexico and the US? And because I keep getting on social media you shouldn't be celebrating that hard. It was our B team, it was our C team. But I remember plenty of times Mexico has brought in their B team, their C team, and at the end of the day, I feel like the US and Mexico being the two giants of CONCACAF, they have to win this tournament all the time.
Mm.
So with the absences, first I want to ask, who do you think was the biggest absence? And then second from that, like how much you think it truly impacted.
Yeah, that's a good point though. I don't know. I feel like for US, I feel like they needed a lot. Like, I mean, prior to playing against Mexico, they were able to score, and I know for them, like, what's his name, Diego Luna?
Yeah.
Luna, like people were hyping him up because he was scoring for them. Scored like 2 goals in like the first like 10 minutes.
And that goes too.
Yeah, so, but I feel like just apart from that, like I think they definitely needed just more presence in the box. Someone, I don't know, the other striker, I can't remember his name, but I feel like he wasn't really helping. Even the midfield, I feel like they were just not even just. I feel like I can't pick one player to say that they needed. I feel like they definitely needed everyone, which is no excuse. Like you said, they're giants, USA, Mexico, like they should be able to compete no matter what team they did. But it does go to say, that it's crazy that their players didn't come to this tournament, especially like because it's an honor to represent your country and to wear that jersey and for them to not want to play, even though I get it that they played a lot of games. But when you're called up for your country, like who's gonna say no? Yeah. And that's crazy too to think that in the U.S. players like Pulisic, McKennie, all of them, they can just be like, nah, like I don't want to go play, and knowing that the World Cup they're still going to get called.
Yeah. So with the World, actually, let me go to you, Fabio, because I want your perspective.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if your team is playing and you know they're not bringing their A-listers, their top players, the top performing players, you're always gonna say this is not our best team. And USA could say that they didn't bring their best players. They had good players, but they didn't bring their best. And realistically, if your team loses, that is one of the first things you're gonna say. Like, we didn't have a good team. So I don't think it should just be fair to say like USA fans are just saying they didn't bring the best team. It's just something that is gonna happen. Not in every tournament you're gonna be able to bring your players. Players are gonna be absent. Players are gonna be injured. But that's essentially where the coach comes in, and it's his responsibility to build the best possible team with what he has, the best possible chemistry formations and stuff like that. And that's something that I personally think that Pochettino struggled a little bit. He did came under the assumption that he was gonna have these players to be these top players, and he was gonna be having a team that was gonna be able to perform well. And realistically, for this Gold Cup, he didn't have that. That striker, I don't know the name of the striker for the U.S., but essentially that speaks to the volume. He was invisible during the Mexico game. There was a time where I saw Luna coming from the midfielder, attacking more as a striker, and I'm like, that's not his position. He's playing out of position. And it's just like in those scenarios, that is when you have a player like Pulisic that is supposed to be in your attacking line, is supposed to be feeding balls into the box for like or your nine to be headering those in, and that's something that we didn't see a lot with the U.S. So just getting back to the point, I do feel like USA missing these key players did play a part to them losing. Again, Pochettino's new. He hasn't had a lot of like playing time with these players since it keeps changing all the time. Some of them are not being able to come up. I do have to say that it is a little bit interesting that a lot of players decided not to play for the Gold Cup this year. And like that's something that we haven't seen, especially for the US team. That's something that we haven't seen in the previous years. So to my question, that do you think this is kind of like a message that the players are sending to the US Federation of like they don't like some of the changes that were made to like the management and stuff like that, or that they're like if it's continuing like that, we're not gonna pay for it? Or do you think it's just the players being genuinely like it is a lot of playing time? Like they come from a league where they play a couple times a week, they play in teams where they're playing multiple competitions. So these players are playing like 2 to 3 games possibly every week. So it is reasonable to say that they need a break too.
First point, I just quickly searched for the striker that we were talking about, Patrick Agiman. I think that I don't know exactly how to pronounce it. Another thing, I want to first touch on what you said about Pochettino. Basically, what I'm getting from what you're saying is like, is the culture there? Are they like, has he built a culture of like the players wanting to be there, them wanting to compete? Like, not only, I mean, because yeah, we could say it's the Gold Cup, right? But we're a year away from the World Cup, a little bit less than a year away from the World Cup, which takes place in home soil for this U.S. men's national team. And the fact that you're taking time off, I think kind of speaks volumes of how actually committed you are. Because let's not forget, like you're still getting paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to play. But a quick stat that I wanted to tell you guys that I saw yesterday during the game: Pochettino, in his time as a U.S. men's national team coach, has faced 5 top 30 ranked national teams. Do you know how many of those he has beaten? Zero. He's lost against all of them, which is a little scary for Team USA because, like I said, with the World Cup so close, these are the games that you're supposed to be showing up. This is when you're supposed to be really showing not only your team but your fans and building that momentum of like, hey guys, like we got a team to compete. I think my whole point is just like if you get called up, it should be an honor to be called up, and you should be there. Simple as that.
Yeah, I think going back to your question, Fabio, I think it's just like complacency. Like they're just complacent. Like again, I feel like they know like these players, Pulisic, McKennie, that they know they're gonna get called up for the World Cup. So it's like, I'm just not gonna go play. Sure, I think you're right. Definitely does play a big role that they're playing so many games. But there's also other players in this tournament um, that also compete in like Edson Alvarez plays in West Ham. So they're playing same thing 2 or 3 games a week, and he still showed up.
Raul, I mean, Raul plays for Fulham. He came out and he showed up, and then also like we'll get more into it, but yeah, like great example of Edson. Not only did he compete, he was MVP of the tournament.
Yeah. So I feel like I mean, it could be a lot, right? I definitely think it is that they're tired of just playing so many games. But like you said, right before the World Cup, for you to not like go and play, and sure, you could have gone and like to this Gold Cup and not taking it seriously or whatever. But at least go for the like. Pochettino's still like a new coach. Like you want to go and like build this chemistry with the coach, with all the players. All the players are calling up, especially before the World Cup. So yeah, to me, I feel like it's just complacency that they know they're gonna be called up no matter what.
And this was their last non-friendly FIFA match before the World Cup next year. So next time Mexico, USA, or Canada play next year in fair competition, not in a friendly, it will be during the World Cup. So that's a little crazy. It also brought back memories of something that we struggle with, and for all those U.S. national team players who are like, "Oh, but it's not our A team or whatever." For the longest, Carlos Vela didn't want to participate with the Mexican national team, and for him, it wasn't a thing of like, "Oh, I'm too tired" or anything. It was just like, for those who know Carlos Vela, he's a great soccer player and probably one of the most talented soccer players we've ever had. But he just doesn't enjoy playing soccer. He does it; that's his job, and he does it as a job. But he said it plenty of times. He prefers another thing. So this whole excuse of like, oh, well, our best players weren't there. Hey, you know what? At the end of the day, that's not our fault. Mexico came to win, and we did win. I mean, that's on you guys.
Oh, I do have a question. How will you rate the performance of the referee in that game?
Terrible. I was yeah. I was talking with one of my friend Kevin.
You thought it was a handball?
Oh, okay.
That's
Yeah. No. We definitely do need to get into that. Before I get into that though, just overall performance, I think it was really bad. He was definitely letting them play, which I don't hate as much. The only problem that I had is that like when he started calling fouls, it were some weak fouls that he was calling. I know a lot of U.S. fans were mad. Yeah, it was a lot of weak fouls. A lot of U.S. fans were, and I had to see the replay. But the second goal, Mexico's second goal, apparently a lot of people were mad that that wasn't a foul. I don't remember the play to be honest, but yeah, I don't know. I just feel like he was letting play go on too long, and some of these fouls definitely deserved more. I remember specifically a tackle on Edson that if he would have had his foot planted, like that would have like his knee would have been ripped to shreds. But and the U.S. player only got a yellow. But besides that, I do want to hear you guys' opinion on handball. I'll let you guys start, and then I'll give mine. So, what do you think, David?
Yeah, it was a pen. It wasn't a handball. I mean, there's a rule, no? Like for a reason. If it's your hand that you're using to like hold yourself up when you're on the floor sliding a slide tackle, like it's not a handball. Um, and I get in the clip. I feel like when it's slowed down, it just looks so bad.
Yeah.
But when you're watching it like in real life, or like live footage, it definitely doesn't look that bad. I mean, he literally goes to like pick himself up, and it just happened that the ball was right there.
I don't think that if he would have aimed for the ball, he could have actually got it. Because yeah, the ball's coming from behind him. He's like picking himself up.
Overall, just to start from the beginning, I think the ref actually did a pretty good job. He let the play go on. He wasn't just calling like any initial contact a foul. Like he was letting them fight for the ball, and if he saw that it was kind of like a fair fight, he would let it go on. That's something that I like because a lot of these ref are every ref is gonna be different. Some of them are to the point that if you just pull a little bit, automatic foul. And if you're kind of just stopping the flow of the game, you're stopping the flow, the build-ups and stuff like that. So players just really can't get into that groove of like getting the play going, pushing up and stuff like that. But for the handball, I do have to say, I honestly believe it wasn't a penal. The player was turning around. As he was turning around, he was literally just extending his arm to essentially soften his ball. It sucked that where he put his arm, the ball was already there. So it's like he couldn't even move it out of the way at that point because he already has the momentum of his body.
Yeah.
So I personally don't think it's a foul. But what I do want to bring up is that this does bring some consideration into the rules of like if this was another league or something like that, another ref might have called it handball. And that's something that we are seeing a lot of like ref online. They're like, yeah, but the way that he actually grabbed the ball with the hand in the box and there was another player right there that could have gotten possession of the ball, could have been seen as a penal. And then this also does bring up like a couple years ago, it was the semifinal was Mexico and Panama. And Panama was winning, and they called him a penal for a handball when the player fell on the ball, and he didn't even grab it, just touched his arm. So it kind of brings back to that, like, we need to start figuring out, not we do, but FIFA needs to start figuring out a way to
Get
make
rid of
sure the rules is consistent across competitions, across leagues, because, like, sometimes we're like, it's up in the air. We're like, is this ref gonna call it? Is it not? And then sometimes we're like, he's not even gonna go to bar for it. And then we see other refs like literally the smallest touch, and then like they go for bar for it, and that just gets annoying because you're like, it literally just depends on the goalie.
Yeah.
Not on the goalie, on the ref.
Yeah. So very interesting conversation because I was just talking with a friend, also U.S. national team fan, this morning about that. He agreed with us. He doesn't think it's a penalty, and I don't think it's a penalty. But I do think I'm a little bit more of a purist when it comes to soccer. And the way that I thought about it, if this was called against my team in a World Cup final a year from now, what would my feelings be? Right? Like, let's exaggerate it to the fullest. I do think there's a lot of gray area. Yeah, I do think there's a lot of gray area, like Fabio's saying, and we need to get rid of a lot of that gray area. My feeling about it is that, like, it wasn't a handball because of the way that the rules are written right now. That doesn't mean that I agree with the way the rules are written right now. My personal opinion was, like, taking out teams and everything aside, we should apply the rules in a way that there is the minimal amount of gray area. The only time I truly believe that a handball shouldn't be called is if you have your hands against your body and you're not blocking the ball on the way to the goal. Let me give you an example. If you have your hands something like this, tucked in like this, tucked in any other way, even if you're falling forward and you got to catch yourself and you touch the ball with your hand, I think that in the future should be considered a handball. And again, that's just the pure. That's just the purest in me talking, being like, I just don't like the idea of like you touching the ball with your hand in the area. But I mean, do I think that, like I said, the way that the rules are written currently, no, that wasn't a handball. The way that I think the rules should be written, that should be a handball going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we can get into the rules a lot. Like, there's a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't agree with, but anyway, going away from that, I mean, I don't know if you guys want to talk about like some of these awards that they were giving out. And you mentioned it that Enzo got like player of the tournament. Usman Diaz got top goal scorer.
Fabio, I kind of want to ask Fabio about the Ismael Diaz because honestly, I don't know him that well. But what do you think about him as a Panamanian, someone who represents your country? Like, what do you say about him?
Do you know what he plays for?
Uh, no, I looked it up. I forgot. But uh, I will say I'm a little disappointed in Panama. They were like group stages. They were performing really good. They were one out of the two teams that actually won all games. That means that they didn't draw or anything like that. And it was USA Panama. Against that Honduras games, they were the more dominant team. But again, like I said in the previous episodes, sometimes soccer is also about luck, where like that's goal from Honduras. They hit a couple players before it went into the uh goal. At the end of the day, is it a pretty goal? No. Is it a goal? Yeah. And that's what sent them to the penalty. And I'm not gonna lie, Panama did not look prepared for penalties. They assumed that they were gonna win this game comfortably. So I don't even think they assume that they were going to take penalties or even practice that much for it, which is something that kind of shows that like you need to be prepared for anything. Like anything could happen. You could get a red card in the opposite teams. It's going to have the advantage at that point. But seeing Panama also like perform and like not even just this year, but like the previous year, they're starting to be like one of the top contenders in CONCACAF. This year when they were doing the lottery, they were in the top four. So you guys obviously know that they do tiers. The first tier are like the four contenders for the cup. So it was USA, Mexico, Canada, and Panama. And like in previous years, it's been either Jamaica or Costa Rica or sometimes I'm not even sure if I guess or not. But Panama has been getting to those spots. So I do have to say that I'm glad to see the directions they're going with. And then an interesting fact is that none of their players play in Panama. All these players play in different leagues. So like these are players that they're bringing the experience from other leagues and bringing it to Panama. And then like Panama is literally the smallest country in Central. Oh, actually, I'm gonna take a step back. I think they're the smallest country. You never know. There's islands and stuff like that.
Just a quick stat. So Ismael Diaz, player with the most goals scored in the Gold Cup, he plays for CD Universidad Católica del Ecuador. So he plays in Ecuador. His most noticeable team would have been Porto. He joined Porto in 2016, but he played for their B team, so Porto B. But yeah, I think Panama has been definitely on the rise. I mean, we saw it also in the Nations League final this past year. They faced Mexico and they gave us a really good scare. I think they competed really well.
It's been a couple times recently that's been like Mexico and Panama in the finals, and
Yeah.
like,
Oh, because we last Gold Cup was also
yeah,
Mexico Panama, correct?
yeah,
It was that Santi Jimenez breakaway goal that
those goals,
shout out Santi.
and it wasn't like a shutout in those games. It was like literally last minute goals that decided the game. So, even though they didn't make it far, I'm so proud to see them play. Like, obviously, like I'm not gonna be like, man, I'm gonna hate them. They're doing like no, they're doing great. They're doing fantastic. Uh, and like even seeing them play, cause and then this is something that you guys can even bring up, and like even our viewers could see that like there are still some teams in like Central America that realistically play a little bit dirty. Like
Yeah.
you see them play, you're like that's too aggressive and stuff like that. And Panama used to be one of those. I was like, if I could put a bet that they were gonna get a red card, I would place that bet.
Honduras last game against Honduras, I thought was playing really dirty, but sorry for cutting.
Honduras was also playing a little bit dirty with. I'm like, I'm surprised they didn't get a red card. I'm like seriously surprised. But Panama is now one of those teams that they're not playing super dirty. Now you're seeing them flourish and become like a better technical skill and not a team that has to rely on like fouls and stuff like that.
I want to go to the other side to you, David, because we had a really interesting conversation. I think Edson, I mean, I don't really have too many claims against him winning the MVP. I would have chosen Raul, but regardless, two other things. One, let's start with best goalkeeper, Malagon. As a Mexican fan, what do you think of our goalkeeper, Malagon?
I think he got lucky to have won best goalkeeper of the tournament. There was a play in the game yesterday where literally I don't even know what happened, man. As a goalkeeper too, he comes out with the ball and then just like doesn't even
Freezes.
grab it. Yeah, like freezes and doesn't grab it. And then USA could have scored, honestly.
Yeah.
Just that I don't even know who headed the ball, but they headed it right at his face, so he got lucky. But man, that right there was like, there's no way you can be one of the best goalkeepers in the world and like you freeze to come out on a ball that's like
Yeah.
anyone's. I think he just got really lucky that the stats were in his favor, that they just got so many clean sheets.
Will you say that it was just like the award had to go to someone and like
Yeah.
it was just him because he had like the most clean sheets.
I think like if it would have been any other Mexico goalkeeper that played majority of the game, that they would have won it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like
I think it's more of a testament to like the quality of the Mexican defense rather than because the crazy stat too. I think Malagon up until the U.S. scored had faced, if I'm not wrong, one or two shots on target. So that basically means that he had one save in the entire tournament. The U.S. was the first and only team to score on him. But again, that has more to do with like no teams were actually shooting on target rather than him being that good.
that's crazy. And the one save was the one he took to the base.
Was the only team to score against Mexico?
Didn't Dominican Republic score against Mexico?
I don't think so.
It was
Double check.
I believe he only had 3 clean sheets. But while he's looking at that, how do you guys feel about Freeze, which is this new goalkeeper for USA, taking over Turner? Do you think he did better than Turner or in previous years, or how will you compare that?
I don't know. I feel like he did all right.
Oh yeah, so sorry to cut you off. Yeah, it was 3-2. So I think the stat was a corrected stat. And
Mexico played that game. Was it him?
yeah, it was Malagon.
And then Donovan played that game?
Yeah. He played the entire.
Go back to stats. I just want to say something.
So he had 5 shots on target in the first game. The corrected stat is during the playoffs. So during the during the playoffs they faced Honduras, which they beat, Saudi Arabia, which they beat, and obviously USA took that fat L.
What I say about Matt Turner and the goalie.
Because I would say like something that did make this new keeper shine a little bit was that penalty shootout against Costa Rica. He was obviously Costa Rica's goalkeeper legend, Keylor Navas. He did great, but so did Freeze. And I think for that game it came more into like the players taking the penalties, where I do feel like just the pressure got to them. Like you could tell by the way that they were walking, you're like they're about to miss. It's like
Yeah.
you could
Pressure.
tell. So I don't know. I think he did a good job, and like I personally wouldn't mind seeing him like continue to play for the US just to see like how he develops.
Yeah. I mean, just because of the penalties, I think the idea of him as a goalkeeper is elongated. But
Mhm.
I don't know if I would particularly say like, oh yeah, I'd give him the starting role. I'd have him battle it out. I mean, I would say the same for everyone, aside from like maybe Pulisic, because like that's clear that he's in another level from all the other players in the U.S. But David, any thoughts on that?
Gonna take out Captain America.
And then the other question I had was, so the best young player went to Olger Escobar from Guatemala. I honestly can't speak to his level because I didn't see I didn't see much of Guatemala. I was most focused on the Mexico games. I just thought it was interesting because I would have given it to Gilberto Mora. I,
Yeah, I mean, Gilberto Mora was great for Mexico, and I mean, obviously because we're biased, and especially you're
yeah,
very
yeah,
biased.
Yeah.
I feel, but I think, yeah, Gilberto Mora was great, but no, Escobar, I mean, he's great too. I mean, I think he scored the only goal against the U.S. when they played them. And I also can't speak to that much because he also went in as a sub a lot of the games, whereas Gilberto Mora was starting like what the last two. So
the last three, I think. And that's kind of what got to me. So Gilberto Mora broke a record. He became the youngest player in any FIFA awarded tournament to play in a final and also to win a final. Aside from that, the other youngest was Lamine Yamal with 17 years in one day. Gilberto Mora did it with 16 years, 265 days.
but then it goes back to like luck, right? I
Yeah.
was hearing in the game that the only reason he was really starting was because his dude was
Luis Chavez got injured.
yeah. Was it Chavez and the other guy? What's his name?
It starts with, are you thinking the G, like, he has curly hair or something like also like that is like I'm not trying to take away from his stats, like that's a really good stats to have, but like also Spain won it against who was it, France?
Yeah.
And you say like you beat France in the final compared to the US in the final. It's like
Well, fun stat for you. Last time, Mexico and
something biased.
no, no, no,
Someone's
right. Well, last time Mexico and France faced off in
What
you know,
year?
in
What year?
2004, 2010. Last time Mexico and France faced off in a World Cup. Yep, 16 years ago. In South Africa, Mexico went on to win 2-1 with Cuauhtemoc Blanco penalty, and then Chicharito getting rid of
He plays for LAFC. I'll give it a chance.
LAFC.
Yeah, he used to play for Tottenham.
Yeah, no, I got his name like in the tip of my tongue, but I can't remember.
It's always like that, man. I'm saying I can't remember this guy's name too. It wasn't man, what's his name? Oh, Charlie Rodriguez.
Bro, Charlie's terrible. He shouldn't be called up.
I know, but I think yeah, I don't know, but either way.
I was talking about Hugo Lloris. That's what it was. But anyhow, I mean, I think more than anything, the only reason why I was saying it, noting my own bias, but it was just because, like, hey, if you're playing for a national team that goes on and wins the competition and he gave Raul that pass that basically cemented their way. So it was just like, I just thought he was most impactful, but it doesn't matter.
But you also gotta see that the thing is the teams, right? Like
Yeah.
he's playing with Beto Mora, and again, I back him up. I think he's great, and I hope he has a bright future. But I think that it's also very different comparison when you have Gilberto Mora playing with Mexico, who's a top contender to always go to the final, versus Escobar, who plays for Guatemala, and he scored the only goal for USA. Again, playing for a Guatemala team that what I think they said not made it to like the playoffs in
Yeah.
9
The
years.
semifinals, I think.
Yeah, so like very different comparison there.
Yeah.
He's scoring goals with teams. It's like if I don't know, Lamine Yamal plays for Barcelona, and then you have a 16-year-old that plays for Tijuana.
Yeah. No,
Very
that's
different
fair.
comparison. So
But yeah.
Yeah, I personally do think Escobar deserved it. Again, like when you compare Guatemala to Mexico, obviously Mexico has more of a tradition. They have better they already have like tactics prepared where you just need to make sure you're doing what you need to do and then that's it. For a team like Guatemala, I'm not even gonna lie, from time to time some of the tactics were being revolved about around him, and that is when you're essentially saying that you're affecting the game. You being there. Um, and there was a lot. I think there was one good goal he had against the US, which was disallowed. Oh, I'm not sure if it was the US. I think it was Canada, where like the goal was disallowed, but like it was disallowed because of a foul in the previous play. But like he took like 3 players and then was able to like finish. That's something that like, takes a lot of guts, takes a lot of practice to do, and like he's doing a good job. And also like I'm excited to see Guatemala in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Even like they haven't qualified for the World Cup yet, but I would bet money that they're gonna qualify, especially now that Canada, USA, and Mexico already qualified, so that opens spots for like other teams.
Yeah.
I do believe that they'll qualify for the World Cup. They're looking like a top contender team, and like if they do, I'm gonna be keeping an eye on them to see how they perform.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, Mexico still won.
Yeah.
So, and there's other competitions.
Mexico back to back, Kings of CONCACAF. Yeah, all we have to say about that. Yeah, I think we're good to close off that chapter on the World Cup so far and move on to the other competition going up, the Club World Cup. Where do we start with the Bayern PSG? I think that was the most
Sure.
exciting.
Had a good games.
Yeah, a lot of great games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Is it me or are you guys finally able to see some of the teams actually care about these games? Like the dedication, the players, they're starting to go like a little bit more like I don't know. It doesn't look like they're just like, oh, I'm here because I'm getting paid to be here. Like they're starting to actually like feel
Yeah.
some of the assignment and start battle
I
out.
feel like I don't know. I feel like I've seen that from the beginning. Yeah, like we talked about this in the first episode.
Yeah, with like Madrid,
They went in with like their starting lineups. Maybe we didn't see it as much in the group stage, especially because some people, I don't know, playing against like no offense, but like Inter Miami, PSG's playing like yeah, or not even the group stage there, but like Atletico, for example. I feel like some teams probably weren't taking it as seriously because they're like, oh, these teams.
should be we should be superior.
But then they get but then they knocked out.
I think these teams were just taking it serious for the wrong reasons. Just more the money
Yeah.
and like the actual like rights to say you beat.
That's true. The farther you go,
Yeah,
so.
and it's supposed to be really lucrative deal for
The winner.
So
It's crazy that you could get more than actually winning the World Cup.
I didn't.
More than even like the Champions League.
Yeah. And I think it might be the most lucrative tournament, aside from maybe whatever the Saudi League does, because they're full of oil money. But
Yeah.
so just a quick rundown of the scores: PSG beat Bayern 2-0. Fluminense beat Al Hilal 2-1. That was a great game. Chelsea 2-1 against Palmeiras, a lot closer than I think a lot of people would have expected. And then Real Madrid Dortmund 3-2. I think that was kind of. It looks closer than it really was, but I think up until like the 80th minute, like Madrid basically had it under lock. Yeah, where do you guys want to start?
I think biggest point with that Bayern game was that Musiala injury. I didn't even see it at first until they just showed him on the floor with his leg like his ankle all twisted.
Yeah.
And I know people were talking about this tournament how like one it's not taken seriously, two it just adds more games. So like I don't know, me personally, I don't. People are using this injury to be like, oh, this is a reason why we shouldn't have the Club World Cup. What do you guys think about that?
Well, did you guys see that Neuer blasted Donnarumma after? Yeah. So Neuer blasted Donnarumma after the game, saying that like you went in knowing like the danger, and yeah, it was such an nasty injury, such a nasty injury. I remember like just watching it, and the moment that I saw him go down, I was like, oh, he probably just got tackled low, like trying to get a penalty. But then when you looked at his foot and the way that like it shouldn't be the way, yeah, terrible. It was bad. That's all I could say.
Yeah, just in regards to the injury, it's sad. It's definitely sad because he's gonna be out for a couple months, and it's definitely gonna affect Bayern. He was one of their top players. Um, at that
coming back from
point,
injury too.
at that point, he was essentially stat-wise, he was likely to be nominated the man of the match based on the influence that he was having, just based at that point before the injury. But at the end of the day, it's like it's something that you face every time you play professionally. Like, yes, you blast Donnarumma for going in a little strong, but then you will blast him for not going in strong. And if he were to like essentially get a knee to the face, like you wouldn't blame the defender because the defender knows he has to go strong, the goalie knows he has to go strong, and it's also for his safety. Like if he doesn't go in strong, he's the one that could potentially get injured. So it's kind of just one of those injuries that it's sad to see, but something that does happen pretty often. And again, like as a professional, you know that for tackles like that, plays like that, you gotta go fully committed.
Yeah.
So it like goes back to like I mean this is an important competition, but like he's just coming back from injury, so like why are they also playing?
Yeah.
Like I don't know. And like you said, I mean, it's football. Like it's gonna happen in any game. It could have been a friendly, and he could have, you know.
And those are the worst because you're like, we didn't need to risk it that much.
This is obviously like a big tournament. Like we're just talking about all the money you can win from it. And obviously, that shouldn't be the only reason. But like, I mean, it's a big influence, and obviously, these teams want to win. So
I love the way that the story has changed for Madrid fans from losing to Aguilar or tying to Aguilar and being like, oh, it's a Mickey Mouse tournament to like now, oh, it's so prestigious, best tournament in the world.
never said it was.
I'm not saying you, but I'm just saying like
But he
I've
looks
seen
at
it.
him.
I've seen it on so because he represents the Madrid side here. I've seen it on social media with a lot of Madrid fans that first match day being like, "Oh, it's not even that important, whatever, blah 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 blah." And now that they're like in the semifinals, like that was what I,
Crazy how much win.
yeah, that's what I
Sure,
wanted.
you're not around Madrid.
No, I'm not. That's what I wanted to connect to the Real Madrid Dortmund. I know the last time we were talking about hopefully seeing Jude versus Job. Unfortunately, that didn't happen because Job got a yellow against Monterrey. Um. So yeah, Madrid Dortmund. What do we think?
Um, Honestly, I think that was a really good game. We're starting to see it's starting to not be um Madrid 2024, like 2024, 2025. It's starting to be like Cruces Madrid. Not Cruces, Xavi's.
Xabi Alonso.
Like we're starting, I was watching the game and I remember a comment that I said, it's like for the first time, Real is looking structured. Like you're not seeing those, because I was just thinking back of like seeing Real last year. And like it was just Valverde or Courtois blasting the ball from the back and having Vinny and Mbappe run. That was the entire thing. And like now you're not just they're actually trying to keep possession in the midfield and actually have good plays where you have players running into the box, players providing the balls to the box. And like that's essentially how Gonzalo scored his first goal. Like and realistically that's not a way that you see Real play last year at all. Literally, most of the times it was like Mbappe going on run, trying to take a player or two, and then trying to score. And then sometimes it go in, sometimes it wouldn't. And like he got caught in offsides a lot, especially against Barca, which is bringing me to another point that I'll bring up later. Uh, but Real was starting to look a lot better, and I'm enjoying that because then that means that it's gonna be more competitive. It's not because I'm not gonna lie, Barca, Real, and it just I'm a Barca fan, but like last year, I think it was a game that just Real lost tactically in all the games. It wasn't like some of the players, like obviously some of the players were performing, but tactically Real lost compared to Barca. So I'm more excited to see like how the Clásicos are gonna be happening. And
I think quality too. I don't think it was all just tactics, but that's
yeah, I mean,
well, aside from like Mbappe, I think Mbappe and probably Courtois and Valverde. I'll give you those three. Valverde, Courtois, and Mbappe are definitely like I would say are better players than what we have at Barca. Everything else, I think.
every team has like their star players. It's just more of like being able to use them effectively that makes a difference. They had Mbappe for the first half of the season in La Liga and he wasn't doing well. But was he being used well in Real Madrid? No, he wasn't.
Which is a point that I want to bring up to you, David. You had that call on Gonzalo. You were saying how Gonzalo Garcia was doing great. I want to ask again, what are your thoughts on him? More specifically, like, do you think he's won the striker role? And if you do think he's won the striker role, what will your ideal Real Madrid lineup look like? Because I know we've seen a lot of new faces. So not only Gonzalo, also Arda Güler has really showed up, and I know that was someone you were high on last season as well. You want to see a lot more.
Yeah.
So as a Madrid fan, what's your dream lineup, and what do you think about Gonzalo?
Man, dream lineup.
What's your current winning selection?
It's hard, especially right now. I feel like that lineup against Dortmund would have been and put Mbappe on top. Mbappe on top. It's difficult to say. Like Gonzalo has been doing great this tournament. I think he's like the top goal scorer right now for the mid. Um, and I think if the people below him are already out of the tournament. So at this point, if he scores again, I think like Gurasi, he's tied with 4 goals, but he's already out of the tournament. I think he's great, but again, it's difficult to say anything because it's still early on. There's still so much. You've seen it so many times, so many players where they either start great and then
The season hasn't even started yet, so it's kind of
exactly.
hard. Yeah.
So it's hard. I hope that he continues the way he's going. Because I mean, man, he has like what 5 goal contributions.
So he has I don't know about goal contribution. He has 4 goals, same as Gurasi and Marcos Leonardo from Al Hilal, but both of those are out. Di Maria has 4, but he's also out. The aside from that is Kane and Olise with 3, but they're also out. So yeah, it looks like if he could get another goal before he gets knocked out.
So yeah, and it's hard because I mean I think the dream lineup for me would be that lineup, and then just with Mbappe, I was even skeptical of Mbappe coming back, especially the way Gonzalo had been playing. But that last game, and when he went in as a sub, I was like, yeah, okay, like Mbappe's probably not gonna have anything in it for him to score that goal. It was a pretty nice goal, that third one.
Nice
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. And I think Xavi's still working out the exact tactics he wants to use because if you notice, he's kind of been switching up the different the games he's played. So like against Dortmund, he switched up like the tactics compared to. Who did they play before Dortmund?
Uh,
I can't remember.
Juventus.
Juventus. So Xavi's still kind of trying to figure everything out. So, but I'm excited to see this Real Madrid team. I think that we definitely have some good players now, and especially like one thing we definitely needed last year was like center backs. And Dean, to me, the best signings for Real Madrid have been Xavi Alonso as the coach and Dean Howson as that center back. The only thing I'm sad about is that and worried about is when we play PSG and not having Dean Howson since he got that red card.
yeah,
Yeah. So question, because you have Rudiger, you have
Asensio.
Dean Huyson, you have Asensio, who is supposed to be like the greatest new center back or something, according to Madrid fans. So who do you start? Like you can that's what I like. You said, oh, I really like this lineup, but let's say you're facing Barca, right? Or PSG. I guess that's more realistic. And you have to choose. You got all your players to choose from. Starting goalkeeper, I think Courtois we could all agree with,
Yeah.
right? Right back, obviously Trent. You brought him in for that. Center backs, who do you go with?
I mean, you only have one option.
No. I'm saying like if you had full options, if you could forget about red cards, about fit or not fit, like based on all the players they have, who are you? Are you playing 2 center backs, 3 center backs, and who are they?
I would play three. I think the lineups they've had with three center backs. So the thing is weird. So if you notice, they usually start like the lineups you see on like ESPN. It says it's like a 4-4-3-3, I think. Or
They've
something
been
like that.
saying
But then but realistically, it's not. It's more like
A 5.
or like a 3-5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so 3 center backs. Who are your 3 center backs?
So Dean Howson, too many, and Rudiger.
So not Asensio.
No. I think Asensio's a good player. I don't think he's all that. I definitely think he's still young and like a little sloppy. I think a lot of Madrid fans did like him because he kind of gave that like Sergio Ramos vibe of like going in really hard.
Yeah.
But I think that kind of has shown that it's especially like now in today's football, it's very different compared to with Ramos when they didn't have VAR and they didn't have all these things. Like to be totally honest, back then if we had VAR, Ramos would probably had way more red cards than he did.
Madrid would have less champions.
So, yeah, with Asensio, I feel like now seeing that, it's like, yes, it's great to see a player that can have that, like, Ramos mentality, but at the same time, in this age in football, it's like, man, it's too sloppy that's going to cost you games. And we saw that in the first 2 games in this tournament.
Left back.
So, yeah, left wing back. I actually really like. Okay. Which is crazy because last season when he would play, he was not. I don't know if he just got confidence now that he has Xavi Alonso. I don't know what he's.
Probably stepped up, like had that mentality. So
Yeah, because if you notice the Dortmund game, and even in the Juventus game,
You got a player
doing nutmegs up top, like making these crazy runs and crosses. He scored in the Dortmund game. Trent, obviously we gotta go with Trent. I don't think. I mean, if I could kind of a highlight, I honestly would probably take that over Trent. I've never been a huge fan of Trent and his defending.
Yeah, I think he's very attacking, but his defense, like, there's a stat that he was the most dribbled fullback in the top 5 teams in the Prem. But
Yeah.
okay, so Trent, center mids, are you playing with 3 or you're playing with 2?
Really.
3. Okay, so is it like Valverde holding Guler and Bellingham more like creative?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then 2 on top, I'm guessing, and that would be Mbappe and Vinny. So Gonzalo bench and comes in as a sub.
Yeah, I think again, like I said, it's still too early. So it's like sure, Real Madrid didn't have a great season last season, but Mbappe, like he still won,
Yeah.
Golden Boot. So I think either way, Mbappe has kind of made his mark that he's still that striker.
Yeah.
Obviously Gonzalo's still proving himself. Yes, he had a great couple games in this tournament, and I hope he continues. But I mean, you also paid so much money for Mbappe. I'm not about to bench him for Gonzalo.
Yeah, no, I agree. I like that lineup. I think it's solid. I mean, I don't really rate Fran Garcia. I don't like him that much. I don't know why. Like I just don't.
Barca fan.
Yeah, maybe. But anyhow, all right. Well, yeah. So Madrid beats Dortmund 3-2. Let's talk about the other two games real quickly. So Fluminense beats Al Hilal. That was actually that was closer than I thought it would be, but it was fair. I think everybody thought that Al Hilal was like, going to win it. They had been playing great, and then obviously this happens, which just kind of shows you that Brazilian football is still here to stay. Like they're showing that they're one of the top leagues in the world for sure.
The 40-year-old center back.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that
Experience.
yeah, that experience
Uh-huh.
exactly. I feel like he definitely had played a big role. There's even like all over social media, you'll see like
Up,
yeah, like he was
like
on
pre-match.
his team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like he played well in
Is he the captain too?
Yeah.
So-
Any other thoughts you guys had in the Fluminense Al Hilal? I mean, I kind of want to touch upon like, do you guys think that Ruben Neves and João Cancelo were a little affected? 'Cause obviously, the passing of Diogo Jota, they did like the whole memorial for him before the game, and you saw them and they were like noticeably affected. Do you think that played against them in the game?
Yeah, I think for sure. I mean, it's a heartbreaking like loss for not even just, everyone in football and then for them to have known him so well. I think it definitely affects them and like to try to be focused on the game while you have like so much emotions. I think it definitely played a toll on it, but
I would say like yes, at the end of the day it probably did affect them a bit, but I don't know. I also have to say that as a professional soccer player, you you have to be able to zone everything out, also
Yeah.
focus on the game. Obviously like it was tragic, no one saw it coming, but there's also like there's been a lot of other players that have lost like band members minutes before the games. They find out and like they play some of the best games after finding out. So it's like um it could go either way, but like as a professional, you have to be a way to zone it out. You can't let like a lot of stuff get to you, like politics, families, personal life matters, stuff like that get to you when you're playing those 90 minutes. Those 90 minutes are for you, your 11 players, your other 10 players playing with you, and like try to score, try to win those games.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely do think it was tough on them, but I agree they're professionals, and I think they zoned out, like they got rid of all the bad vibes and just kind of like focused on the game. And I think they gave us a really great game. And yeah, finally Chelsea and Palmeiras. Chelsea ends up winning 2-1. I don't think they're convincing enough though. Like I feel like Chelsea has been lacking a little bit of something. I don't know. That's just my.
I'm wearing Chelsea. I think Chelsea is a good team. I will have to say, and then like I'm pretty sure you guys have heard this, but their best player this past season has been Caicedo,
Mhm.
which has been doing really good at like controlling the midfield and also preventing like attacks, and just he's been really good at like being able to take those the pressure from other teams, and like they didn't have him this game, so. For them to win 2-1 is still a good thing, but I do think they're gonna look obviously a little bit more dangerous next game that happen. Obviously a team is not one player, it's those 11 players, but I do think he's gonna have a positive impact on the game.
David, any thoughts on the Chelsea Palmeiras?
uh no, I think the only thing I do want to say is because you're saying that, their Chelsea's like missing something. I think we're just also like Palmeiras is a good team. I think we're also downplaying them. I think yeah, Palmeiras is a good team and they played very well against Chelsea. Um, well, I mean, we'll see. We got Chelsea, Fluminense next, and then PSG, Real Madrid. Which, as a Real Madrid fan, I am a little worried, but I also have to remember that PSG also has a couple red cards
Yeah.
that they got, especially with their
The center backs.
yeah, they got
Nacho and
Bacho and Lucas. This is crazy, bro. Went in for like 5 minutes, got a red
Yes.
card. It's like, bro,
yeah.
that's
Which
crazy.
like before we run out of time here, let's get into that. So predictions. So we have two games. I think the most important of which obviously PSG Madrid, because I think the winner of that low key takes the whole tournament. Fabio, start with you. What do you think?
So PSG Real, obviously I think it's gonna be a little high scoring. I would say 2-2, and then it goes into extra time. Um,
Fabio is a logical Barca fan, but as you see, Victor's not.
We'll see. We'll see.
but then I do see PSG taking it, like at least scoring a goal in extra time. And it's just because something I'm not sure if you guys have noticed, but Real Madrid's defense does start looking a little bit sloppy towards the end of the games. It looks great first half, second half it starts looking a little bit sloppy, and we saw that. With the last pen they had against Dortmund, you're up by 2 with only 2 minutes left. Let him take a shot. Like
Yeah.
at the end of the day, like they're not gonna score another one,
Yeah.
but now you got a whole record, and now and that's something that like Real Madrid has already gotten 2 or 3 red cards in defense wise.
Have both of them been? No, one of
No.
was Hoyson, one of them was Asensio.
Yeah. And then you also have Rudiger that's coming back from injury. He
Yeah.
can't play the full 90 minutes yet. And like if you plan to play 120, you're just asking him to take him out for the season again. Like he's at high risk of injury. So I think PSG is gonna take it 3-2 in overtime.
David.
Yeah, like I said, I'm worried about this game, but I have complete faith in Real Madrid. I think, like I said, PSG is also down 2 men, so that might give us a little bit of an advantage. I agree with you that, like you said, it has been kind of like messy towards the end. I think it's also just like, because if you notice, the 2 red cards were 2 young players, so
Yeah.
Asensio and Housen, who are both pretty young. I think that they lack that like confidence in their teammates, because like Courtois is him, bro. Like he's and he even said in the interview, that like when he got the red card, Housen, he said, that they're still young and they think that they need to go in for every ball. When they
Have
need
some
to
more
just like
faith.
quit. Yeah, have some more faith in your teammates and in your goalkeeper that they're gonna make that save. But yeah, no, I can, and it's crazy. I actually just saw something on social media where they said Real Madrid would win like 5-0.
No.
I don't see that either, but I do see Real Madrid taking it. I say like 2-1.
I think that's
Even to add, I think like the team that controls the midfield, they're probably gonna be favored to win. And that's something that you're gonna be able to see early on in the game.
I mean, we'll see though. Like, I mean, again, every game is different, but Botafogo was able to beat PSG, and I feel like if Real Madrid really studied that game and see what they were able to do, to kind of shut down PSG, I feel like that might even help them out.
Yeah. And okay, now comes my point, and you could judge me on how biased I think I am. But okay, I think one or two. I think one or two things happen. But hear me out. I'm gonna give you a more specific scenario than just PSG wins because they win or Real Madrid wins. Like, here's the thing. I believe PSG is currently the better team. They're one of the best teams in the world.
Mhm.
I do think that they're better than Real Madrid. Now, let me get to the other part of that. Real Madrid is made for competitions like this. And like this is something that like I feel like, and I hate it as a Barca fan, but there's like an aura to Real Madrid that I don't fucking understand why. Like every time somebody goes up against them in a knockout phase, they're scared. Like something happens. It happens all the time in the Champions Leagues. It happens every time with other teams. And I hate it. I hate it. And I hope to God that PSG are able to like get that off their head and just go and play their game.
That's all right. Guess what?
Yeah. But my point with that being like I really hope that PSG are able to play their game because I think if PSG play their game, I think it's 3-1 PSG. I think if they get into the mind games that Madrid is going to be playing, I think Madrid takes it 2-1 as well.
By the way, guys, by the time you see this, the games will have already ended. So by the time you see this video, we'll know if Real Madrid won or PSG.
Leave a little comment below. Who do you think? Either make fun of David, make fun of me, make fun of Fabio. We had a little bit of different takes, but
Fun of us just approve.
or yeah,
thoughts.
support.
And then we do have the Chelsea Fluminense. I think for this one, I'm gonna just take Fluminense. I feel like when we first did the predictions out of the group stages, and not just us, but a lot of people um downplayed the Brazilian teams. But I feel like this time I gotta take Fluminense to beat Chelsea.
Yeah, full-heartedly, I want to say Fluminense wins, and I really, really, really hope they do. I think Chelsea has a bigger depth of squad, and ultimately that will play out in their favor. So I'm going to take Chelsea 2-1, but I really want it to be Fluminense 1.
Sure, bro.
I know.
Yeah,
But I don't know. For all these games, I want them all to go to extra time because I have a feeling like each team could surprise you. Like it's not like one team is gonna be a lot better than the other. It's like pretty even. I personally think that um I I want to say 2-1 Chelsea, but at the same time I wouldn't be surprised if it's like 2-2 and it goes into overtime and humor. I don't know how to say it correctly, but like I do think Fluminense they could take it.
And finally, so by the time our next episode airs, by the time we record our next episode, the final would have already happened. So assuming that we go with what we say, so David, you say Real Madrid Fluminense, I say PSG um Chelsea, you say PSG Chelsea. David, who takes the FIFA Club World Cup? Okay. I say PSG.
I think it's gonna be PSG. What is the name? Like, would this be a new trend? Like, not the treble, but the quad.
Well, technically, the Club World Cup has been played. It's just a different format. So yeah, a quadruple.
Yeah. Do you guys? I know David wants Real Madrid to at least win a trophy this year.
Yeah.
That's right.
We'll see.
They have a good chance, though. They definitely do.
Yeah, but we'll see. Especially with the red card, man. I don't know.
I think we got some good games coming up though for sure, and I mean I hope they play out. I hope that more than anything the refs have nothing to do with it. Both teams are like all teams are able to play their football, and we just get to see who really is the best team in this specific tournament.
Bro, the Club World Cup. That's why Barca's not in.
But yeah, any closing thoughts, guys?
Like they said, if you guys have any takes yourselves, leave them in the comment. Like I said, you guys, by the time you see this video, will have already known who the finalists are. So let us know who you guys think is going to take it. And
Yeah, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy our commentary. Let us know who you guys think is gonna be correct on their predictions. It's gonna be definitely interesting finding.
Well, yeah. So again, thank you guys for following us. This has been 90 plus, and we'll see you next time.